All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the County of Monterey's weekly news briefing. I'm Nick Pasculi, the County Communications Director. Maya Carroll is off today, so you'll be getting your questions from me. And also, if you have questions at any time during the news briefing, you can kindly either put your questions in the chat or you could raise your hand and we will recognize you and let you ask the questions in real time. And so I want to welcome our first guest today. We have Jack Murphy, who's our Director of Military and Veterans Affairs, and he's going to be talking to us today about the benefits for veterans under the PACT Act. There's some important news that was announced last week that the impacts are going to be great for our veterans community. So Jack, welcome, and why don't you tell us a little bit more about this new opportunity for our veterans?
Yeah, thank you, Nick, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for that introduction. Yeah, as Nick mentioned, we've got some pretty exciting news to share with the veteran community across the Central Coast. Last Tuesday, President Biden and the Department of Veterans Affairs announced a tremendous expansion to the PACT Act. The PACT Act is a law from August 2022 that provides VA healthcare and benefits for veterans who were exposed to burn pits, Agent Orange, and other toxic substances. The PACT Act has already helped our office provide generations of Central Coast veterans and their survivors with health care and benefits that they earned and deserved through their service. Exciting news is that effective last Tuesday, March 5th, VA healthcare eligibility has now expanded to millions more veterans across the country, years earlier than called for by last year's PACT Act. Under this new and historic expansion, all veterans who served in the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, the global war on terror, or any other combat zone after 9/11 are eligible to enroll directly in VA healthcare without first applying for VA disability benefits or having to wait to prove that you were exposed to toxic hazards. In the past, that was a challenge, and it was a big frustration for the veteran community. But now, under this expansion of the PACT Act, all you have to do is prove that you served during a specific time or that you served at a specific location. Additionally, veterans who never deployed but were exposed to toxins or hazards while training or on active duty within the United States are also eligible to enroll for free or significantly reduced cost healthcare from the VA. So the message is, if you're a veteran that's out there and you're hearing this, this is what it means to you. If you served in Vietnam, the Gulf War, to include Desert Storm and Desert Shield, Iraq, or Afghanistan, you can enroll in VA healthcare. If you deployed to any combat zone after 9/11, you can enroll for VA healthcare. If you deployed in support of the global war on terror, you can enroll for VA healthcare. And even if you never deployed but were exposed to hazards or toxins while training or serving here at home, you can enroll for VA healthcare. Nick, this is the biggest expansion of healthcare in generations, and the Department of Veterans Affairs wants you to apply as soon as possible. You know, VA healthcare has proven to be the best and most affordable care in America for veterans, and veterans who connect to the VA or go to the VA for their healthcare have better health outcomes. And even if someone doesn't need the healthcare today, you might need it tomorrow, they might need it the following day or 30 years from now. And the key thing is once someone's in or enrolled for VA healthcare, they can have access to that free or reduced cost healthcare for life. Enrollment is quick and it's easy. You do not need to be sick or first file a disability claim to become eligible, as was the case previously. All you have to do now is show that you served in any one of those locations or operations or participated in one of the activities that could have exposed you to toxins or hazards, and you're eligible to enroll. So if you're a veteran that's out there, please don't wait. Apply for affordable or free health care that you earned and deserved through the VA by going to va.gov/PACT, or you can also contact the Monterey County Veterans Service Office at 831-647-7613, or you can hit us on the web at mvao.org. Nick, that's what we wanted to share, and we're excited and open to any questions or comments that someone might have. Again, you can contact us at 647-7613 or mvao.org. Thank you.
That's great news, Jack, for all our veterans. And I know it's been a topic of conversation for quite some time. I mean, it's been on the minds of veterans and veterans groups and organizations like the county and others that serve our veteran community. What do you think was the tipping point? How did we, it took a little bit of while to get here, but we finally got here.
Yeah, that's the tipping point took about 3 years to get there. And as you note, it's a huge benefit. Nationwide, we're talking millions of veterans that don't have to wait, that don't have to deal with a lot of bureaucracy, don't have to find or develop a lot of evidence. I think President Biden and the VA Secretary realized that the VA is the one that's causing that frustration. So let's break down those barriers. Let's presume, let's grant, let's give veterans the health care that they deserve. And the onus should not be on the veteran to prove this. If we know you served, then let's give you the health care that you deserve.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And, I tell you, from my own personal perspective, Jack, I'm grateful for the work that you and your colleagues do. Adam, I know, is on with us, and the Military and Veterans Affairs Office for the county and other veterans agencies and organizations in our county do such important work. And so thank you for your service, for what you do. And we'll provide the news organizations with some more specific details on this program as a follow-up email. So thank you, Jack, and thank you, Adam, for being with us this afternoon. And you can stay on, and maybe some questions will come up. Oh, we do have a question in the chat. Here we go. Did this change benefits available for widows?
So that the expansion of the PACT Act right now doesn't really change a lot of benefits for widows unless the veteran, specifically the veteran, reaches a certain level of a disability threshold, commonly 100%. If the veteran passed away during the benefit application process or passed away of a known condition, one of the presumptive conditions, such as, we'll just use a type of cancer from Agent Orange exposure in Vietnam, then benefits for a widow or a survivor can be in play, but there's certain exceptions, and a lot of it has to do with at what point in the claim process did the veteran pass away. The best thing to do is have that survivor or the family contact our office. It's a pretty easy process for us to look at, at what point did the veteran pass away, and then based on that, to try to inform the survivor or the family about different types of benefits that they may be eligible for.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Jack. And again, thank you for all that you and your team does at our Military and Veterans Affairs Office. All right.
Thank you.
So our next guest this afternoon is going to be Rich Ordonez from the County of Monterey Ag Commissioner's Office. And Rich is going to talk about some weights and measures programs that help protect our consumers. And a lot of people don't realize that the Agriculture Commissioner's Office impacts consumers on a day-to-day basis. And the Ag Commissioner's Office is also the sealer of weights and measures for our county. So Rich, welcome to the briefing, and tell us about this program and how it's going to work.
Well, thank you for having me today, Nick, and hello, everybody. So our Weights and Measures Division is housed at the Agricultural Commissioner's Office. Like you said, Nick, a lot of people don't know about it. And we're kind of a consumer protection agency. What we do is touches the lives of everybody in Monterey County, all the residents, by protecting customers, and not only customers, but also fair competition amongst businesses. That way we ensure that, we have equity in the marketplace. So the community can shop with confidence and get what they're paid for. So one of our main programs in the Weights and Measures Division is device registrations. That activity is the main one of the biggest activities that we do, and we ensure that the commercial weighing and measuring devices are accurate. In the County of Monterey, there are approximately 14,000 registered devices, And annually, we inspect and test those devices for accuracy. If the device passes, we will go ahead and put a seal on it, indicating that the accuracy was verified. If the device doesn't pass, we'll red tag that and place that out of service so that it can't be used in commercial trade. Some common commercial devices that we inspect are weighing scales. So things like at the grocery store, when you purchase your produce, we inspect those. And also that would be an example of a weighing device. Whereas a measuring device, we inspect gas pumps. So when you are at the grocery store or at a gas station, you'll notice, take a look and see if you see that seal on the device. And then that way you're sure that it's been inspected and is reading accurately. The next inspection type that we have is a price verification. That's where we inspect the retailers, their pricing or their UPC scanners to ensure that price accuracy. So, when you go to a retailer and you purchase something, have you ever been overcharged? Well, that's what we're testing for. We test. We go and we'll test random items, and then we'll check for those overcharges and even undercharges. And consumers should be charged the lowest posted or advertised price. We also check for that as well. Another inspection type that we have is quantity control, where we inspect prepackaged goods to ensure the actual weight or count of the package is equivalent to the labeled weight or count that you see. An example of that is like if you go to the grocery store and you buy prepackaged chicken, if it says that it's 1.5 pounds, we make sure that it is indeed 1.5 pounds. And one of the other programs that we have is the petroleum program, where we enforce quality standards for most petroleum products. That includes gasoline, diesel fuel, motor oil, automatic transmission fluid, and antifreeze. We will occasionally sample and test those products to see if they meet the performance and specification standards. At times we get complaints of gasoline, so we'll go out and take those samples and send them to the Department of Measurement Standards laboratories to be tested. Also at gas stations, we also regulate the advertising and labeling of these products. So you'll, when you go to a gas station, you always notice the pricing has to be a certain size so that the consumer can be able to tell how much the gas costs and what actually is on the pump. So what are they selling? Is it gasoline or diesel? So that's kind of a summary of the main activities that we do in the weights and measures field.
That's great, Rich, and I appreciate that. I tell you, as a consumer, I really appreciate that. The other day I was buying some bag salad at the supermarket and it was on sale on the shelf, but then when I got to the register, it rang up at the higher price. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a different price on the shelf. So the work you're doing is important. It saves us consumers some money.
Yeah, Nick, when you have cases like that, you can always contact our office with complaints, and we'll definitely follow up on something like that.
Excellent. And in truth, really, the Ag Commissioner's Office is kind of the first line of defense for consumers in our county. So that if there is something that nefariously might be going on somewhere, you guys will escalate it to a higher authority too, I'm sure, right?
Oh, that's right. So we're the enforcement arm of the Department of Measurement Standards housed at the California Department of Food and Agriculture. So yeah, we definitely would go to them.
Great. Yeah, it's interesting as a consumer. I know we all probably take things for granted, but when you go to the gas station next time, folks, and fill up, and gas is pretty expensive, look at that seal and gives you some assurance that our Ag Commissioner's Office has been there to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. So, Rich, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, great. All right, so we have our friends from the Hitchcock Animal Services, and to talk about Hollister Rescue Connection and rescue vetting. And we have Cindy Burnham from the Hitchcock Animal Services, and a recent Hollister Rescue Animal Abuse case that was in the news shined a spotlight on the importance of how animal shelters work and how rescues work. So Cynthia, welcome to the briefing this afternoon, and tell us more about rescue groups and the critical resource they are to the residents of our county and our area.
Thanks, Nicholas. Hi, I'm Cindy Burnham with Hitchcock Road Animal Services, and I'm going to share my screen. I've got a few slides. There it is. Okay. Do you see the blue Hitchcock Road sign?
We sure do.
Okay, so we're out on 160 Hitchcock Road in Salinas. We are a new joint powers agency between the city of Salinas and the county of Monterey. So we are open Tuesday through Saturday, 1 to 5. Our website is hitchcockroadanimals.org. We accept lost stray pets from unincorporated county areas and some of the cities on the screen. And just, I always highlight our current capacity. We're at about 16% capacity for cats, which is normal this time of year. And we continue to remain at over 100% capacity for dogs. So get those critters fixed, especially those kitties. It is that about to be kitten season. So can't overemphasize that enough. So yes, we did want to touch on the recent Hollister rescue hoarding case that a lot of folks heard about last week. And that's because we did send 2 officers to assist after receiving a request from Hollister to help, that they had a case with over 200 cats, and they needed some trucks and some staff to help with that. And so we did send 2 officers to assist for several hours, and they helped feed, water, process cats from the property, just be an extra set of hands and a couple trucks. We did not take any animals from that case. They worked with some other groups to help with the cats. We do, and so part of that is we wanted to highlight that we do have a vetting process. So at Hitchcock Road has over 100 rescue transfer partners that assist us with about placing 900 animals a year. So that's just over 900 animals were transferred to one of our rescue partners. These are mainly animals that would not have been adopted due to them being underaged. For example, unweaned kittens, or animals that have medical or behavioral issues that are such that they're not necessarily deemed a public safety risk, but they are, they're not something we can just place up for adoption. We get a lot of fearful animals, a lot of under-socialized animals, and a lot of times putting those up for adoption isn't necessarily in their best interest. They're not ready yet. So we do utilize our rescue transfer partners. Some of you may know some of those local partners: Animal Friends Rescue Project, Peace of Mind Dog Rescue. Those are all rescue partners that we work with on a regular basis. And we do vet them. It is important for us to make sure that we're handing off animals to an agency that is appropriate and will do them no harm and will better their situation. So we have an application that we review, and we verify current information and their presence. Are they active? Are they continuously working with other groups? Do they have a social media presence? Are they out and doing things on a regular basis? References are contacted to verify good standing. We contact local animal control. We contact local vets, other shelters they work with. We want to know that they're in good standing. And if there's any red flags that present themselves, we will halt the process. If we can work out those red flags, great. But if not, then often we will decline to have that as a working partner. And we did want to update that SBC Petapalooza was a rescue that we had been known, that we knew in the area. They did apply to be a rescue partner with us, but we did not approve them because we did have some red flags and concerns related to animal housing and outdated social media. And so they were not a rescue partner with us. We had 2 animals that came in 2023 that had microchips leading back to them, meaning they had adopted them out, and the owners lived in our area, but they did not come and reclaim them. So they did take them back, but neither of those animals were found at the location last week. So we just wanted to go over that. And then, busy week, We also had a couple wild animals come back from the lab testing positive for rabies. So we did put out a press release. We did post the areas. We did want the communities to know that we did have a California striped skunk found on February 20th near Ryder and Del Monte. And then a day later, a California gray fox was found near Constitution and East Laurel. When we get in animals like this that are suspect, we do take them in and have them tested. Unfortunately, it is not a live test, so these animals were euthanized, and then we sent specimens in for testing. So we did want to take this opportunity to remind the community that there is a continuous presence of rabies in our local wildlife. That's why there's local, California is considered an endemic state. So there are local wildlife in most of our counties, including Monterey County, that we will see rabies. It's not uncommon. And they don't know city and county lines, and so they will come in and out of the city and into the county, or vice versa. In Monterey County, it is typically skunks and bats. Probably foxes would be the third species that seem to test positive. We did have a couple of bats last year, so it is not uncommon. But our domestic animals, our pets, are at risk for rabies throughout Monterey County. It's your outside cat that's gonna go say, hey, that animal's moving kind of weird. Or your dog's gonna run out and, interact with some kind of wild animal, and then they come into our home. That is one of the reasons why licensing is required. And licensing is the tool that we use to make sure pets have those current rabies vaccines, because it is something that exists currently within our world. We are recommending pets should be kept up to date on rabies vaccines, and to contact, a veterinarian, a low-cost clinic. For other types of animals, you can vaccinate other animals besides dogs and cats, but that's something for you to discuss with your veterinarian. The law does require that all cats and dogs are required to have that current rabies vaccine by 4 months of age. And so whether they're inside or outside or inside only pets only need one time to get out. And every once in a while, we will have a situation where even a bat will get into a home. And so just reminding you do need to keep current on the rabies vaccines. The first one is good for 1 year. And then after that, it can be good for every 3 years. And again, if you have any questions, you can contact us or your veterinarian. And also a reminder to avoid contact with wildlife at all times. They don't need us to feed them. We really should just appreciate that they're there, respect that they're there, but keep that distance, because we don't know what they may be carrying. Do not touch or approach them. If they're acting strangely, or they're found dead, or you think you or your pet has been exposed, please contact your local animal control agency. Did want to point out that behavior changes, some not all rabies is the situation like Cujo, the movie. A lot of rabies is what we call dumb rabies, where they're just losing motor function. But, one of the questions we're going to ask if you suspect your pet's been exposed is, what is that exposure? Have they been around wildlife? Just, having some aggression does not mean it's related to rabies. So, we will want to kind of talk through like what may be an exposure situation. So please call us. For the city of Salinas and unincorporated Monterey County, here's our phone number, 831-769-8856. Otherwise, it's your local animal control with some of the smaller cities within Monterey County. It starts at their police departments.
All right, great.
And I just have a couple really quick reminders. I've showed these before. We do have some lost and found tips, but basically we have this texting platform. If you've lost or found a pet, this starts giving you and texting you quick information on how to best get the pet home, or to get your pet home. We are doing some special adoption hours. We are extending our hours starting tonight. So tonight we're open till 7 p.m. And then we're going to start opening Saturdays early, a couple Saturdays a month. And that's just trying to increase our adoptions. And then this Sunday, we are having a special pop-up adoption event. Adoption fees will be half price. And I've heard if you find the special gold coins hidden around the shelter, there may be some lucky Clover gifts or prizes. So with that, I will stop sharing. And if there's any questions, I'm here.
All right, Cindy, why don't you put your last slide back up just for another second or so, in case somebody wants to jot down that information. A couple of thoughts came to my mind as you were talking. I mean, obviously, vaccinations is just part of the good responsibility of pet ownership, and so it's important to make sure that our pets are vaccinated and up to date with all those vaccinations, isn't it?
Absolutely. Vaccinations can help us. There's differences in, our communities, our world. We don't see rabies in our domestic pets that often, because we vaccinate. Other countries that don't have those see a higher prevalence of rabies. So absolutely, it is important to keep your pets current on vaccines. And that's, if something should happen, should they get exposed, then there's less quarantine times. There's less concerns about human exposure. So it is very important.
Great. And the other thought I had is, you talk about wild animals and the impact that it has on our domestic pets. And even though some of us might live in cities like, say, the city of Salinas or Pacific Grove or Monterey, we kind of often forget we are surrounded by wilderness on some level. And, you have the Del Monte Forest, and you have the hills between, Salinas and Monterey, and you're surrounded by mountains. So the wild animals do have an impact in our local cities and neighborhoods, don't they?
They absolutely do. And the urban wildlife, they're living there. Some of them probably live within our streets, under our streets, and some of the drainage areas. And so it's not uncommon. Skunks, bats, foxes, raccoons, possums. I know every night on my Ring camera, our little local possum walks across my driveway. So they're there. It's just important that you're not wanting to attract them. There are diseases that they harbor, which can be harmful to us. And so, yeah, not feeding your pets outside is important. Keeping things cleaned up and not allowing them to really congregate will help you and your family and your pets stay healthier.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us again, Cindy. We appreciate all the work you folks do out there at the Hitchcock Road Animal Services, and have a great day. And we'll send us your slide deck so we can share that with folks afterwards, please.
They will. And once my screen,
right.
there it is.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. Our last guest this afternoon, actually two people. We have our friends from Laguna, Seca, to talk about a stargazing event, which sounds really fun to me. And so we have Alicia Busa and we have Jean Perkins from Mazda Laguna Seca Raceway. And this Friday, stars and not cars, I think, is how we're billing this. And we're excited to know more about this event on March 15th. In conjunction with the Monterey Institute for Research and Astronomy. So tell us about this event and what we can expect.
Yeah, so hi. So I think I'll start, Jean, and I'll just kind of go over some of our community events, and then we can jump into that. So yeah, WeatherTech Raceway, of course, we're a raceway, we're a racetrack, but we are also the recreation center, and we do, or recreation area, I should say, and we also do community events. So we have several community events that we do throughout the year. Our Cars and Coffee events, which I took on last year and have now become a beneficiary event. So we collect $5 donations for local nonprofits. Last year altogether, we raised over $10,000 for various nonprofits for 4 events. We also have 4 more events on the calendar this year. So starting this Saturday, March 16th, June 8th, August 31st, and December 14th. Our Cars and Coffee morning, just arrive, donate, and then you get free coffee, and there's all kinds of cool vehicles all over the lake bed. Don't quote me on this, but we might be one of the largest Cars and Coffees in the county because we have so much space. So we get usually 400, 600 cars showing up, which is really fun time. The other event that we do is our Twilight Cycling Nights, which we open up the track for families. Everybody comes from, pro riders to kids on little push bikes, and they ride around the track. It's really fun. It goes usually around the time of twilight, so that time does change. All this information can be found on our website, which is weathertechraceway.com, and then under events and then special events. And so that is another fun event that lots of people come out for. I can give you the dates on that one as well. We have a March 15th, which is this Friday, right before our next event I'm going to tell you about. And then June 11th, July 25th, August 29th, September 18th, and October 9th. And yeah, typically 5:30 to 7 p.m., but every once in a while, as the sun and the time changes, we might adjust those. And then, yeah, and then our one more thing I just want to mention was we do have our turkey trot on Thanksgiving. Last year, just on the turkey trot, we raised over $10,000 and tons of food, canned food and stuff for the local food drive. So that was great. And then, of course, I reached out to Jean and MIRA, and we've started this event called Race to Space, which I am working on getting on our website and will be up, but you can also find it on our social media. And that is happening, our first one this Friday. It is in the lake bed. So you come in to the track from Highway 68, you go, and there's going to be plenty of signs and cones, but you go straight, almost straight ahead into the lake bed and over to the island. And it sounds like there's some really good interest from some school clubs that might be coming out. And Jean and the MIRA group are going to be out there with some telescopes and everything. And we're going to do some stargazing. So race to space, mark your calendars. And then we're going to also get some other future dates, hopefully, on our calendars as well. So I'll let Jean talk about MIRA and what they're going to be doing there and some of their. Great.
And then Alicia, can you send us a flyer or a list of those dates? We went through them pretty quickly, and I want to make sure everybody has them and gets them and they can promote them.
I sure can. I'll send you something on all of our community events so everybody has that, and then I'll send the individual flyers for the upcoming ones.
Great.
But then again, if anyone does want to check for this, it will be on our website, WeatherTechRaceway.com. I'm just working on getting this new one up, but the other ones are on there as well.
Terrific. I love it. Stars and not cars. All right. Jean from MIRA, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your organization and some things that how you're involved with this.
Hi, thank you. Yes. So we're the Monterey Institute for Research in Astronomy. We are a local nonprofit research observatory. We house our main research telescope in the Los Padres National Forest. And we also have some facilities in Marina where we have a small telescope there where we will host field trips for local schools and other groups. We are dedicated about 50-50 to research and education in astronomy. And so the Race to Space is one of our education kind of community outreach events that we are participating in. We are very much looking forward to building this partnership. We have existing partnerships with the Monterey Peninsula Regional Parks Districts, where we do star parties out at Garland Ranch every couple of months. And we're really excited to add Laguna Seca to our repertoire for star parties. On the 15th, we can expect to have probably half a dozen or so astronomers with telescopes out there, where we will be able to view the moon, Jupiter, and probably Mercury as well. It is getting to some of the best viewing time for Mercury near the end of this month, as well as we will be able to look at other stars, nebula, and exciting things across our galaxy. It's going to be a great night. The location there, I am expecting to have very nice dark skies, and I think we will have a great turnout for that. MIRA is, as a nonprofit, is funded entirely by our local community. And so we put a lot of effort into engaging with the community as well. You're very likely to find us at local community events such as the Monterey County STEM Talent Expo coming up, California Wildlife Day out at the Monterey Parks, and those sorts of events. We also visit classrooms. I am more than happy to come out and talk to kids about space, science, astronomy, careers as an astronomer, and topics like that. We also host field trips to our facilities, and in the summer months, we offer daytime tours of our research telescope up in the forest as well.
Great. And so obviously, we hear about STEM a lot. STEM has been getting a lot of, well, let's say positive press, and STEM meaning science, technology, engineering, and math. And so your program obviously fits in well with a lot of these school programs and the I guess for lack of a better word, the promotion or encouraging young people to consider a career in STEM. And this is something that certainly will help, I would think, huh?
Definitely. And if we also offer a summer internship program that is a very intensive STEM experience for high school and early college students. And I think that's probably our most intensive opportunity that we offer. But it really is a unique experience because the students in our programs work one-on-one with our astronomers on actual research topics, which is not an experience your average high school student gets to have in most places.
Great. Well, we appreciate that. And I've been corrected, folks. It is not, I have to say the right terminology. It's race to space. And so scratch anything I said prior to that. I can't rewind this tape, but hey, sorry about that, Alicia. It's Race to Space, the event on March 15th at Laguna Seca in conjunction with our friends at MIRA. So thank you very much for that correction. And does anybody have any questions before we sign off on this Wednesday, March 13th? All right, seeing none for our guests that were here, please forward us any information that you have about your programs or your discussion today so we can share that outward with the folks that attended. And for this Wednesday, March 13th, I want to wish you all a very pleasant rest of your afternoon. It's a beautiful day outside. Get some fresh air and some sunshine, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.